guys, how's it going? I had a chance to do a double feature of a movie tonight. I wanted to bring you a review of the movie I enjoyed the most tonight, which actually happened to be Spotlight. It's a drama directed and co-written by Tom McCarthy. Stars Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, John Slattery, Liv Schreiber, Billy Crudup, and Stanley Tucci. The movie's about the cover-up of the Catholic Church scandals and priests and the issues they got into with young boys and molestation charges, and it's about the Spotlight, which is an investigative news team working for the Boston Globe that initially started investigating just select groups of priests in Boston, and they soon realized they had much, much more information than they ever thought, dreamed, or were horrified to find out information that was out there than possible. This was a really interesting movie to me. For one, it wasn't covered very much by most news outlets. Now, critically, this movie has been extremely well acclaimed. Numerous accolades, it's won numerous awards already, and I'm sure this is going to be in contention come Oscar time as well. But nonetheless, this isn't necessarily a blockbuster type movie. This isn't the kind of thing that people are going to rush out to take their kids to see. This is a very dark content and dark subject matter that you're dealing with here, and it's something that, especially when it involves religion, it's something that people tend to look away from. I know myself personally, I was born, or at least raised Catholic, and still practice today. This is something that was largely overlooked by the church, and people within the church, it was something that people didn't want to talk about, didn't want to think about, the fact that this could actually be true. So to see a movie like this being made in a non-documentary fashion with big name actors, A-list or very close to A-list big name actors, was really great to see, and it was really great to see the attention to detail. And in delving into some of the information about the movie and kind of doing some fact checking and looking into the reception to the movie and then refuting claims and all that, it's based on a true story, but it doesn't seem like they really skirted on many details. It looks like they dotted as many I's and crossed as many T's as they could in making this movie as legitimate and truthful as possible. So it was just a fascinating movie to watch, because it felt like a documentary and a drama both at the same time, and it had the best mix of both of those. I really love this movie. The one thing that's stands out most about the story is just how at what lengths the church was going to try to cover their tracks and really just save face about this whole scandal. And that's something that I remember living through that in the early 2000s and seeing that and hearing about that, but just to see it, it was just fascinating, and it was done so well. Tom McCarthy, all credit to him for the job he did writing the script and then directing the film, because it isn't a fast-paced film by any means. It does move quickly at times, but this is a slow burn. This is just an investigative team. There's no big fight sequence. There's no action. This is a drama. This is a very cerebral drama where you already know the end game, but to see how all these pieces fit together and to see all the work they went through and to see the stress and the anxiety and the pressure that all of these men and women went through and telling the story was really just incredible and fascinating to watch. And all credit to Tom McCarthy again for directing his film and having it flow so smoothly and having it feel so rapid and fire for something that you're investigating one story that does explode, but it's still a very contained story in many ways that just kept getting bigger and bigger. McCarthy to be able to direct that properly, all credit to him. He did a fantastic job. The performances were great, especially Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo, deserves to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his role in this. As one of the members of the Spotlight team, he was fantastic. He was funny. He was emotional. He encapsulated everything, all the best parts of this movie, really. He was, in many ways, it's an ensemble piece, so it's hard to name an anchor to it, because in many ways Michael Keaton plays the anchor, and he does a great job at it as well. He's very, very, very good in this movie, but Ruffalo is constantly stealing scenes. He is the one that really makes this movie work as well as it does. Keaton is needed to be, to make the story flow as well, but Ruffalo is really the driving force from one performance standpoint in this film. Liv Schreiber is great. He actually was really, really interesting to see him play this role, and I saw Pawn Sacrifice, and he played a role similar to this in that movie, where he was playing more of a cerebral role, more of an uncomfortable, unassuming figure, as opposed to this intimidating presence that he so often portrays. But to see him do that and really dive into this, he really just added another layer to the film itself as well, and I was really, really happy to see him do something and step a little bit outside the box, like I said, similar to Pawn Sacrifice, but still different at the same time. My only issue with the movie, and this is really my only issue, because this is a great movie and you should see this. I actually just got it this week because it's leaving most theaters in my area after Wednesday night, so I strongly recommend you see this. My only issue with the movie was that some of the other actors just didn't seem to bring it as much. And it's not that they were checked out or in any way. It's just, I'm assuming it's the way their characters are written, because we've seen these actors bring it to a better extent in other movies. Rachel McAdams is a great actress. We've seen her do good work in other movies. She just, maybe it's her character, but she just wasn't, she felt very flat in this movie. Sure, being a member of the investigative team, maybe that's what she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be a little mentally checked out and a little emotionally detached. But to see the reaction from Keaton and to see the reaction from Ruffalo, hers just didn't match. And even Slattery as well. Her emotional tone just didn't match the rest of the movie. And Slattery is great as well. And actually, he has some really good moments. And I'm not dogging on McAdams. It was just her performance did leave a little lacking. And even Keaton, he had some great moments. But there were just, like I said, Ruffalo really, really brought it for me in this movie. And I'm actually not a huge Mark Ruffalo fan typically. I like him. I didn't love him. I loved him in this. He absolutely deserves a nomination. The story's great. The pacing's great. The direction's great. Performances, like I said, very, very good. Some better than others. But I still really, really love this movie. I highly recommend you see it. This is an uncomfortable subject matter. Movies are for to tell stories that are real or fake, but to tell an interesting story. And this is an interesting, true story that needs to be told, needs to be talked about, needs to be seen, it needs to be acknowledged. And whether or not it's dinner conversation or not, this is something that you should go see. And it's a very, very well crafted film. This will easily be on my top 10 list at the end of the year. Easily will give this a 9.6. This is right up there with the rest of my other top movies of the year. Like I said, the only thing that held it back for me a little bit, there were a few performances that just left me wanting a little bit more, whereas some of them were great, but that was the only thing that really held this back from being a 10. This is a fantastic movie. I strongly recommend you see it. I will be doing a write-up as soon as I can that I will post on my blog as well. I will post all my information below as always. If you have any questions, comments, anything at all, but please let me know. Go see Spotlight if you can in any theater that's still playing it. And I don't know of any in my area. Check Fandango, see if there's anywhere you can see it. If not, I highly recommend you rent this as soon as it becomes available. Hope you guys enjoy this. I'll check you next time. Thanks.